In the previous video, we discussed about project initiation in detail, and in this video, we'll dwell deep into project planning. So, as discussed during initiation, the project manager is appointed and he drives the project into the planning phase. And the first thing he does is collect he and his team. When I say he is accountable for it, they collect the detailed requirements, analyze the requirements, then define the scope, and the scope gets approved by the key stakeholders. And once the scope is approved, the next step is decomposing the scope into a work breakdown structure. And uh, Once the work breakdown, the key aspects of work breakdown structure is so you take the whole project and then decompose it into smaller pieces, and the lowest level in the WBS or the work breakdown structure we call as the work packages. And PMI gives some guidelines like 880 rules and stuff like that to do this effectively. Once the WBS is done, one has to ensure that there is one-to-one mapping between the WBS and the baseline scope. Otherwise, in the final product, there won't be the scope omissions won't be there in the final product, which may lead to a lot of customer dissatisfaction. Uh, so, uh, without a WBS, proper estimation is impossible. So, in many of my classroom training, I ask people to do an estimate. Like the scope of the project is as simple as this: like today evening, 10 of your colleagues are coming to your place for dinner, and you have to do this dinner, or yeah, you have to do this. This is the project, and ask for an estimate. Immediately they throw numbers like 4 hours, 5 hours, and stuff like that. But actually, if you really do a WBS, it starts with deciding on the menu, then the shopping list, shopping, pre-cooking activities, then cooking the starters, the main course, and the desserts. Then some sort of arrangement for doing the arrangements or housekeeping at home because all these people are coming. Then the party time, and after that we have the after party cleaning. So all these things put together, it will be around approximately 12 hours of effort, which is almost 3 times the initial estimate of 4 hours. And when you ask, they say, "Oh, I thought it is only the party time." So if you can make a mistake like this in a very small project like this, what can happen in a very large project? So always I say my recommendation is don't throw estimates just like that. You quickly do a breakup of the whole project and then estimate the smaller pieces and then aggregate it. Then the chances of better accuracy is higher. So large projects, if you do an estimate, it is impossible to do an estimate without a proper work breakdown structure. And once the WBS is done, then it is a great opportunity. From the work breakdown structure, we can come out with the bill of quantities. That means for each work package, what are the material required, manpower required, machinery and equipment required, and the processing required, quality standards to be followed. So that is a time when you can arrive at a bill of quantities. And once we have the bill of quantities, then it becomes much easier to get accurate estimates. In large construction projects, what we do is from the owner side itself, they appoint a consultant, and the consultant prepares they do till the bill of quantities, and then request for proposals against those bill of quantities. So if I get five proposals, then it becomes comparable, because in the bill of quantities I would have specified very clearly, the specifications of the material requirements, process requirements, quality standards, everything. So I can confidently assume that all the proposals submitted are based on will be in adherence to the bill of quantity specifications, so that we get a comparable proposals. And the next step is preparing the schedule. Uh, so once we have the WBS and the work packages, as discussed, work packages are the lowest level in the WBS. And I missed out one step. Once the work packages and the bill of quantities are available, there is a time when you do the cost estimates. There are two, three techniques to do the cost estimates. One is analogous estimation, which is based on comparison with a past similar activity. Then parametric estimation, that means if you have done a similar activity multiple times in the past, then we can always take an average, then it becomes parametric. Parametric is always more accurate than analogous. Then we have this 3-point estimates. That means for every task, we come out with optimistic numbers, pessimistic numbers, and the most likely numbers. And then we converge into a single estimate by applying the formula optimistic plus most likely plus pessimistic divided by 3. That is one formula. And the other formula is optimistic plus 3 times most likely, 4 times most likely plus pessimistic by 6. So in the second formula, we give more weightage for the most likely. So then we arrive at the uh, cost estimates. The same techniques are applied for duration estimates as well. So we decompose the work packages into activities, and then we sequence those activities based on their dependencies. There are 4 types of dependencies, like finish to start, finish to finish, start to start, and start to finish. And we arrive at the network diagrams, and we aggregate these network diagrams and arrive at the project schedule. Uh, and I forgot to mention about control account. So every work package is linked to a control account. And during the planning stage itself, we need to define the project's organization structure and associate this control account to the project's organization structure as well as to the WBS, so that we can monitor and control at a work package level very effectively. So with this, we conclude the planning session. To summarize, we start with the detailed requirements, then define the scope, then decompose the scope into a work breakdown structure, when work packages, then bill of quantities, then estimating the work packages. We discussed about the key estimation techniques. Um, and then decomposing, we also discussed about the significance of control accounts. Then it is about decomposing those work packages into activities, then sequencing them based on their dependencies. Uh, There are two types of network diagrams. We have activity on arrow diagrams as well as activity on node diagrams. So we can use any of these two. We get the same duration. And another key aspect is the longest path through this network, we call it as the critical path. When we say critical path, it is the longest path in the network, or another definition is it is the shortest possible time in which the project can be completed. That means the activities on the critical path have a zero float, and activities on the critical path, if they slip, the project will slip. So it is very important to monitor and control the activities on the critical path. And critical path is dynamic. It keeps on changing as the project progresses. And we may use scheduling packages to arrive at the project schedules, Primavera, MS Project, and stuff like that. But what need to be understood is this many prior activities must be done before you jump into scheduling. That is scope definition, work packages, bill of quantities, then decomposing the work packages into activities, then network diagrams using AOA, AON. Then only we can translate the data or input the data into scheduling tools and arrive at the uh, integrated project schedule and arrive at the critical path. But then, first time you develop the schedule, sometimes the end date will be far beyond the agreed upon contractual commitments to the customer. Then we have to compress the schedule. For that, we use techniques like fast tracking and crashing and stuff like that. So this is the high level view of project planning. And then after planning, we get into execution mode. And throughout the project, we monitor and control the project using techniques like earned value management and earned schedule management and stuff like that. So in the subsequent video, we'll be discussing about project execution, followed by monitoring and controlling and closing. Thank you very much for watching.